What is up, Resident Evil fans? Luke from Wrestling with Evil here, and this is the portion of Wrestling with Evil where I do tier lists. And what a good way, since a lot has been going down in the Resident Evil community with Resident Evil Village coming out, and inevitably Resident Evil or RE-verse, as it's going to be called, coming out. Later on this month. I'm going to be, I figured, you know what? I did a Redux for Resident Evil 3 Remake, and I talked about my feelings about that game, and so I'm going to do the same for Village, so that's what I'm going to do, and I am not like any other YouTube channel where, if they make a list or a tier list, I don't like stuff to be dated on the channel. I like it to be updated and fresh so you guys can, have a fresh, my opinion's fresh for you guys. So that way you guys can know, okay, this is more recent, because Village came out and all that shit. So, his opinions are a lot more fresh. And, I love, obviously, you guys know that I love the Resident Evil franchise. And this would be a Redux number 2. The last Redux I did, like I said, was because, Resident Evil 3 Remake came out, and I wanted to talk a little about that and where it stands, with the other Resident Evil games. So I'm going to be doing that again today. Also, I thank you guys so much for joining the channel, and becoming a part of this channel. This is what I love to do, and I'm so glad that you guys love it too. That really, really, really means a lot to me, because there would be no point of me doing this if it wasn't for you guys. So yeah, if you guys are liking my videos so far, and you want to, support the channel, liking, subscribing, and sharing this video, definitely a great way of doing that. If you want to support me as a creator, go into my description below. I have all of my my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have my merch store, which you guys can get sick-ass We Are Wrestling with Evil t-shirts, coffee mugs, whatever the fuck you guys want, with the We Are Wrestling with Evil logo on it. There's probably going to be some more designs to come eventually one day, but I'm just sticking with that design for right now, just because, I'd have to pay for it, and I'm not monetized on the channel yet. So, but if you guys subscribe, that would definitely get me one step closer to getting monetized. And also, I have my Patreon in the description below, so check that out. And you guys don't have to do any of that if you don't want to. Definitely hit that notify bell. Make sure you guys get all that content when I'm going live, when I'm, premiering a tier list like this, or just putting a tier list onto the channel in general. I like to do all sorts of stuff. I'm going to start being a little more diverse with my content, but yeah, so I figured I'd get that out of the way, because this is going to be fun. I get to talk about Village, and like I said, where it stands with the other Resident Evil games. Because, as you guys know, I'm in love with this franchise. I have been since I was a kid. My dad played it when I was younger, and it just means a lot to me. And also, this is my opinion. It is not your opinion. I do get that, and try not to be too savage in the comments. I like to voice my opinion, but also be fair. Like, bring up valid points, and, I'm not talking out of my ass here. Like, I mean, I have played a majority of these games, probably a good 95% of them by now. So, I mean, I have a good understanding, especially the older games. I have a good understanding on what, like, I have a good opinion about it. So, I like bringing that to you guys. So, we're going to go over the tiers. So SS is the best tier. Obviously, it's God tier. S is just great tier, one step below God tier. Good tier is right under great tier, A tier. B tier is above average tier. C tier is below average tier. D tier is meh, like, if the game's meh, there are some Resident Evil games that are just kind of like that. E tier is underwhelming, which, I mean, yeah, there are definitely games that are underwhelming for sure. And then F tier is crap, which, there's always, one or two games in a franchise that's just crap, just not that good. So we're gonna go through that right now, and thanks for joining. So, my opinions on Resident Evil 0, which is the first game. Technically, canonically, it's the first game in the series. I will say, Resident Evil 0, I don't think it's that great. And I know I've said this before. I just think that, the hitboxes are really fucked up in the game when it comes to items and enemies. The fact that you have to drop stuff on the floor is really fucking annoying. And I don't really like the inconsistency with Rebecca's character in this game. It's like, Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1 Remake, which I'll be talking about right after this, are like almost two separate games. And I don't think that's very fair. Like, because Rebecca, acts all scared in the Resident Evil 1 Remake, and then in Resident Evil 0, she's all calm and confident and whatever. Yeah, in Resident Evil 1 Remake, she's more of a damsel in distress. So, I mean, it's just really inconsistent, and I don't really like Billy as a character. I've said that before on the channel. I don't like Billy. He's kind of bland, and kind of boring. And I don't like a lot of the basic enemies, too, like those stupid fucking monkeys. Get out of here. So, Resident Evil 0 is gonna get a meh tier for me. I really don't, and I also don't really like the whole zapping mechanic between characters and stuff like that. It really just takes away from the immersiveness of the game. I think the final boss fight isn't that great. The first boss fight, I mean, honestly, I feel the best part of Resident Evil 0 is the first part with the train, because that got me. That got me really hooked and invested. And then once you get to, the training facility, it's just kind of dull and boring, honestly. But like I said, that's my opinion, so meh tier it goes. Not really much I could say about this one. Let's move on to Resident Evil 1 Remake. Now, this is... I love this game. Honestly, I am in love with this game. This game is so fucking good. And, honestly, I've said it before. This is the antithesis of what a remake should be. Takes everything from the older game, brings it into this new game, and it just immerses you into a very similar and similar feeling environment, but also a brand new environment. And they keep all the old shit that was great in the original Resident Evil game, and that was made in '96, and they just kind of, they keep all that good shit, but then they get rid of some of the clunkiness and whatever, and they update the graphics and they add new areas, and it's just a phenomenal game. Honestly, this game is perfect. This game is probably one of the most perfect, beautiful, horrifying survival horror games you will ever play. And yes, there are tank controls in it, and same with Resident Evil 0, but there are tank controls in this game, but I fucking love that. I feel like it works very good, especially on PlayStation 4's version of this game. I feel like it works very, very good, and it has alternate controls on the PS4 version, so, you don't really have to worry too much about the fixed camera angles and the tank controls. So, honestly, this game is perfect. I love the dialogue, I love the characters, love the final boss, classic. Fucking Wesker with his heel turn, or with his, fucking, what do they call that? It's revealed that he's a bad guy, basically. Sorry, spoiler alerts. But yeah, that was just a really, really great point in the game, like, especially in the series. Like, it sets you up for what's about to come. And I really love that. So yeah, Resident Evil 1 Remake, absolute god tier for sure. I fucking love the game, like I've said so many times. Get out of here, stupid. I love the game. I think it's amazing, and I will always praise this game until the day that I die. Like, I feel like it's just the most complete horror experience that you can get, honestly. So, let's move on to Resident Evil 1, the original. Now, this is the game that I watched my dad play when I was about 4 years old, and it scared the living shit out of me. But if it wasn't for this game, I would not have this channel, for one. It would not, and if I did have this channel, it wouldn't be called Wrestling with Evil. I probably wouldn't be into horror or horror games. And on top of that, I would know nothing about Resident Evil, and I wouldn't be the person that I am today, honestly, because of this game. This game changed it literally changed me on a molecular level when I was a kid. Because I was just so fucking horrified of this game. Like, my dad played it, and I was just like, holy shit. I was scared. I was really scared. But you know what? Like, this game is actually beautiful. Like, I mean, I know that the graphics are dated. The music is incredible, but we're not gonna talk about Resident Evil Director's Cut by DualShock version. We're just gonna talk about like Director's Cut in the original, because the DualShock version had that shitty basement theme that I think everybody knows sounds like a fucking drunk clown, getting high and fucking derping around a basement. Like, it's not good music at all. But the music in this game is absolutely phenomenal, all that aside. I love the cheesy voice acting. I love, the weapons, and it was just, like, this literally was the start of survival horror. Like, I mean, there were a couple games before this, like Alone in the Dark, which is what this game was inspired by the developers. But, Resident Evil Director's Cut is amazing. And like I said, I had a blast, watching my dad play it when I was a kid, and I was terrified and horrified, but I also pretended to be Chris Redfield, and I would go into the next room and change my outfit and come back out with another outfit. Just like when you go into that one room and change your outfit, it was just a fucking good time. Like, and I remember my parents laughing when I did that too. That's a funny story. But yeah, no, like, Resident Evil 1, the original, set the tone for everything that Resident Evil is. And Resident Evil wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that game. So I mean, yeah, it hasn't aged well. Absolutely. I completely agree. It hasn't aged well. And my opinions are kind of jaded, but, since my dad's older and, and like I said, if it wasn't for him and this series, I would be a shell of a person that I am now. I'd probably be miserable, honestly. But Resident Evil Director's Cut is an amazing game, especially for back in the day. It scared people, and it made people invested into what Resident Evil is. And for that, I gotta put it in the great tier, man. I really, like, I know my opinions are probably all over the place, and, from the first video that I made, the first tier list video, and then, even the last tier list video. Like, I know my opinions change, but that's what this franchise does to you. It's like, you love something 1 minute, and then you're just like, but, But, honestly, I will say that Resident Evil Director's Cut, some of the enemies are pretty fucked. Like, the Hunter and the Chimera. Yeah, they move way too fast, they jump way too high, and they do a lot of fucking damage, and they'll stun lock you to death, literally. But it's still a great game, so you know what? Fuck it. S tier it goes. So, Resident Evil 2 Remake. Well, actually, let's talk about Resident Evil 2, the original, first. Resident Evil 2 is probably one of the greatest survival horror games of all time. It's a great experience. The music is badass. Leon and Claire are fucking awesome protagonists. And then you got the creepy Chief Irons, who, is a taxidermist, and he wants to stuff this girl that's on his desk. And then you got fucking, William Birkin, who just transforms into, different transformations, and each one of them is more grotesque than the last. It's amazing. And then you got fucking Mr. X once you get to Scenario B, and he's following you around this Raccoon City police station. This game is awesome, and it has a shitload of content. It's so replayable, and this game makes sense. Like, this game is a game where, the voice acting is a little bit cheesy, but it also fucking makes sense, but I mean, there is an issue with this game that I always have. It's playing Leah or Claire's scenario, where you have to run with Sherry, and sometimes if you run too far, Sherry will crouch down in like a weird position, and she won't follow you to the next area, so you can get to the next area and whatever. And sometimes you have to go back and be like, hey, yo, Sherry, time to go. Like, yeah, she's, that can get a little annoying. And, sometimes her part in general is pretty hard because sometimes there's dogs rather than zombies. I think that's only B scenario or A scenario. I'm not sure. Either one, there's dogs, and that can be a run ender, especially if especially during Sherry's part. Ada's a lot more resilient, and she also has a weapon too. But yeah, no, I take issue with that. It gets really annoying. But Resident Evil 2 is a god fucking tier game. I mean, the final form of William Birkin is absolutely the most terrifying thing that I think anybody will ever see. Like, it's just a giant fucking creature with teeth that will devour you if you don't have enough ammunition to take it out. Like that, and it swallows you whole. Like it's fucking terrifying. It really is. And even Mr. X's final form is just fucking creepy. So Resident Evil 2, god tier for sure. Resident Evil 2 remake. Okay. Yeah, this game is so fun to play. Honestly. Yeah, the gameplay is fucking phenomenal. This game looks fucking amazing. It takes Resident Evil 2 and it really expands upon it. I mean, it takes a lot of some of the areas out that were the most iconic, like the marshalling yard and I think another area, I'm not sure, but no, it's really, really, really a great horror experience, especially a modern horror experience in video games. Like, this game blew my fucking mind when I saw the trailer for it or the E3 announcement for it, and I was super hyped. And then, this game, actually, Resident Evil 2 Remake, is one of the reasons why I started the channel, because I was just like, you know what? I have to get out there and start playing this game, like, so that way people, will enjoy it, because it really is an enjoyable experience to watch and to play. It really is. Like, Leon, his voice acting is so great in this game, so is Claire's. Claire looks beautiful. Leon looks, he looks like he should look, and he sounds like he should sound. Like, it's his first day on the job in the police force and stuff like that. And, this game is amazing. I love the old over-the-shoulder camera for this game. It just works. It really does. And on top of that, Mr. X is just, honestly, they really improved upon Mr. X from the original game. Mr. X was kind of, he was really slow, for one. He was, he didn't come, at you all the time. He came at you in like scripted events. But honestly, yeah, like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 Remake is probably one of the scariest, creepiest fucking big dudes in horror history. Like, he's awesome in this game. And, William Birkin is really awesome too. It's just, I don't think this game is better than the original because, Resident Evil 2 had, the original had both A and B scenarios, and they were different, for either character. And there's a lot of continuity and canon to it. But Resident Evil 2 doesn't even, there's no way for it to be canon because, like, it's just, all right. So it's basically because the first boss fight, William Birkin, like, you have to fight William Birkin with both Claire and Leon in the second scenario in the second remake, or in Resident Evil 2 Remake. They should have made it a different boss. Either that, or they should have just I don't know, they should have just, sorry, my cat stepped on my leg. They should have just did something else instead of have it be a William Birkin battle. But nevertheless, this game is fucking awesome, and this game is god tier for sure. So let's move on to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. This game is fucking fire, guys. This game is so good that it's outstanding. It's amazing, actually. This game is fucking amazing. This is the game that I played the most, I think, in the series, honestly, because it's just that damn fucking good. There's such hype moments in this game that leave you breathless. And then when you first meet Nemesis and he kills Brad with his fucking tentacle, like, that is probably one of the greatest Resident Evil moments in history, period. Like, that moment by itself is just so fucking cool. and it just introduces you to the big bad that follows you throughout the entire fucking game. And he's fast, he has a fucking grenade or a rocket launcher, and he's just a nuisance, and I love it. I love Nemesis. I think he is probably the one of, if not the best villain in any single game in history, period. Because he doesn't need to say much, and he'll just fuck you up. His actions speak louder than words. He doesn't need to say anything. He just is equipped with all this shit. He has it all. Like, you know when you step in the ring with him, you're gonna get fucked up. So, yeah, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is amazing. The dodge mechanic in this game is kind of screwy, but honestly, I really don't. I mean, it's amazing ambiance. The music is so amazing in this game, just like it is in Resident Evil 2. Honestly, I think it's kind of, equal when it comes to music. Probably the best save room music of all time in Resident Evil. In the whole Resident Evil series is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, hands down, I feel. And I don't know, yeah, the dodge mechanic is shitty, but I mean, it's so unpredictable. This game is so unpredictable because sometimes there will be dogs instead of hunters in an area, especially for like a speedrunner or anybody that's playing the game a second time. Like, that's pretty fucking cool. That's innovative. There are so many things that you can do in this game. Different cutscenes that you could see if you do something a certain way, or just, I don't know. This game's fucking badass. I can't say enough about this game. How much I love this game. This game is fucking, and honestly, this game aged very well. I feel like Resident Evil 2, the original, and this game have aged super well. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you guys feel. Leave it in the comments if you feel like this game has aged poorly, but I feel like it's aged so well. And I still love playing through it and speedrunning it. So this game has got to be God tier, for sure. And also, what I like to do at the end of the video, after I place everything in its order that I want it to be in, I rearrange it from what I think is the worst Resident Evil game to what I think is the best Resident Evil game, obviously in the tier list format. So, okay. Now we're going to get to the real thing that I haven't talked about in a while because I don't want to talk about it. Resident Evil 3 Remake. This game's way too short. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is fucking amazing. You get to go through the streets of Raccoon City, and, the Dead Factory is awesome. The fucking bell tower, or the clock tower, just an amazing environment. What else? Yeah, you get to go through the RPD, again, but as Jill this time, and things are a little bit different. And Resident Evil 3 Remake, it's short, and the only thing they got right with this game is the dialogue, the character models, besides Nemesis, but I'll talk about that in like a minute or two. I don't want to go too deep into that yet, but no. Oh, stop it. Yeah, I honestly feel like this game is, like, the things that it did right was the dodge mechanic, the voice acting, and, like, this game is actually very beautiful, I will say that. The colors are so vivid when they want to be, and in a dark environment, that's kind of fucking cool, honestly. But, like I said, this game is way too short. It doesn't deliver much, and I honestly would have really, really loved to see Nemesis kill Brad again. I know it was cool that, that Brad turned into a zombie and got bit by a zombie and was dead, and or got turned. And then he ended up biting, Marvin, and that's how Marvin got bit on his chest, or on his abdomen. That's cool and all, but I really would have loved to see new Nemesis fucking just destroy Brad's face. Just make it look like, I don't know, like goo. That would have been so fucking cool. Or just like blow him to smithereens or something like that with the rocket launcher. Like, that would have, like, they could have, that was a big missed opportunity, honestly. That Capcom did. They missed an opportunity with that specific scene, and that sucks. But Nevertheless, there are some cool parts in, Resident Evil 3 Remake. It's so hard to try and pick something that's that great just because the game is kind of forgettable. It's kind of, it's not really that memorable because it's so short. They took out the clock tower. They took out the dead factory. They took out the fucking graveyard, which was my favorite part, or is still my favorite part in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the original. Takes all that out, and it just gives you this, and it's just so underwhelming. It really is. So I'm gonna put it where it belongs, underwhelming, because this game is. And Carlos is really cool, I will say that, but yeah, this game I think absolutely is worse than Resident Evil 0. Yeah, and also I really don't like Nemesis's second form in this game either. He turns into like an alien looking xenomorph type, enemy. And it's like, I get that you want to pay homage to something, but at the same time, like, that's Nemesis. He shouldn't look like, alien. He should have his own look. Just like, the second form of Nemesis, the burnt form of him, when he loses his limiter, looks so badass in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I would rather choose that moment over Nemesis's whole arc in the remake, honestly. But I will say that Nemesis's final form at the end of Resident Evil 3 Remake is pretty badass. I like it. I don't know if you guys do. Leave it down in the comments if you do. I like it. But yeah, underwhelming. It's so short, and it's a very fleeting experience, and it's not really replayable either. I have no desire to go back, to playing it on the channel unless I'm doing like a marathon or something like that. But yeah, this game, belongs here. That's for sure. This is the home of Resident Evil 3 Remake. So let's move on to Resident Evil 4. Let's see. Hold on. There we go. Resident Evil 4. So, this game is awesome. There's one thing wrong with this game that obviously everybody, or a lot of people complain about, and that's Ashley. She's the most, one of the most annoying Resident Evil characters ever created, honestly. She's so annoying. You have to hold her hand through the entire game. And I've said this before, I don't like the whole damsel in distress thing. I feel like every woman is powerful in her own way, and I really hate when games or TV shows make women look helpless, because that gives women a bad name. It really fucking does. And Ashley is the antithesis of that, but in video game Resident Evil format. It definitely takes the Resident Evil formula, and it's still kind of tank controls, but kind of not really over the shoulder tank controls, I guess you could say it is. And I feel like they really ramp up the action in this game. That was their next step. They were just like, oh, let's make Resident Evil a little more actiony, and and they added QTEs, which was the first time that was really ever done. And Resident Evil 4 just doesn't, because of what happened later, it gets a really bad rap. That does not mean that this game isn't great, because it is. This game is great. It's just, I don't know. I kind of sour over this game, especially as of late with the newest game that came out that I'll talk about later. Cause yeah, like I said, it's way too QTE heavy. Krauser is just the biggest, I don't know. There's just the crappiest boss in my opinion. One of the crappiest bosses. He's the antithesis of action stunt hero, and that's kind of shit. That kind of sucks. I don't like that. I mean, the first part in the village is really great in Resident Evil 4. Everybody knows that. The chainsaw guy, and you're just like, oh shit, there's a guy with a fucking chainsaw, and he's a tank to put down. That's awesome. But this game, there's a lot about it that I love. And there are just... but by and large, I like... By and large... there's a lot more in Resident Evil 4 that I like than I dislike. So, it's going in great tier. I know that I've put it in God tier before, but honestly, I haven't played it in a while. and for good reason, because it's kind of a chore to play through nowadays at this point in time. Like, there's so many other great Resident Evil games that are being made afterwards, and just picking this game up, I mean, yeah, picking this game up in general, just, it gets very, like, annoying, honestly. I get annoyed playing this game because, you have to listen to Ashley say, "Leon, help," every 3 seconds, and then, I mean, the inventory system is great. I love that. But it's just kind of, like, I feel like a lot of the enemies throughout the game are kind of recycled. Like, it's the same thing, only a different skin of the character. And then the last part of the game is just military action shit, and like I'm not a big fan of that, especially in a horror game. But nevertheless, it's still a great game. So yeah, those are my gripes and complaints and opinions. You guys have your own. Leave it down in the comments. Try not to rip my head off, because I am only human. But yeah, great tier for sure. I'll accept that. I'll put that there. I usually put it in God tier, but I don't know. There's just something about Resident Evil 4 now, because like I said, there's so many newer Resident Evil games that are just so much better. Honestly, in my opinion, they really are, and less of a slog fest to go through. Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 is absolutely horrible to play by itself. I've tried and I've failed multiple times. I feel like it's a waste of time to play by yourself. But playing with a friend is so much fucking fun, and it just really, really, really is. It's not the best looking game of all time, but I feel like it really, really develops the story between Chris and Wesker a lot more, and it's just a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of action in this game. Way too much action. It takes 4 and basically, fucking, pump some steroids into it, just like Chris's arms. Sick roast. But yeah, no. I mean, I love the end to Resident Evil 5. The ending is really awesome. The final fight between Chris and Wesker. I would love to see Wesker come back in future titles and shit like that. Have one final folly, one final blowout. That'd be so fucking sick. But Resident Evil 5, it's and I feel like the story's kind of all over the place too with this game, honestly. Like, I don't really like some of the bosses either. I don't really like Excella. I don't like the other dude, that rat-sounding dude. I forget his fucking name because he's just so forgettable. But yeah, no. The final fight between Chris and Wesker is really great. When he first enters, the town of, the town that's in Africa, wherever he's at. And then he gets that one stare from the villager in that town, just like something's wrong. And then fucking the giant, executioner dude with the, fucking giant, what's it called? Giant axe fucking comes at you. You're just like, oh shit, fucking, this is like Chainsaw Guy all over again. Yeah, man. Resident Evil 5 is pretty cool, but I won't say that it's the best, because, when you get so used to playing a game by yourself, like Resident Evil 4, for example, or just even all the Resident Evils that came before it. Like, if you can't play it by itself and the AI is such crap to the point where you can't play it by yourself, not everybody has friends to play with, to be honest with you. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Not everybody has a friend to play a game with. I know that growing up, I didn't have many friends to play with at all, like to play games with. I had like very little, and when I was young, I had my dad, but then he eventually got bored of playing video games and got too old, and that happens, that happens. But Resident Evil 5, if you can't play it by itself, just by yourself, then how good really is it? Playing with friends is fine, it's fun as hell, but if you can't play it by itself, I don't really think it should be in great or good tier. Maybe a little above average. So I'm going to put it in above average. I don't think anybody really makes that point, And I try and drive home points that make sense. So if you disagree, put it down in the comments. Resident Evil 6. All right. So I just I just started playing Resident Evil 6 a few months ago on the channel with my dude Dr. Mindbender. Shout out to him, great fucking person, solid member of the channel, and yeah, Resident Evil 6, my opinion, is changed a little bit on this game. I really feel like I can understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to do everything, like action, horror, and, you know, like stealth based, and then Ada with the puzzles. They wanted to put like they wanted to like, sorry, Clyde. He always jumps onto my lap every 3 seconds. It's so funny. But no, Resident Evil 6, it tries to be everything, and it doesn't work. That does not work. And some of the shit in this game is absolutely ridiculous. Like some of the QTE segments when you're, you know, and even the racing segments when you're driving the bike around with Leon, and then fucking, you know, there's always a chase segment in every single one of the scenarios. It sucks. I hate it. And the controls are so janky and whack that it's not even funny. It's like you can't even control the vehicle. What's the fucking point of having it in there then? I don't know. Resident Evil 6, I like a lot of moments in the game. I love the fact that Sherry Birkin is back in the game. Jake Mueller is an alright character, or Mueller, rather, is an alright character. I'm not going to say that he's the best. He's kind of a little bit better than Billy Cohen, to be honest with you. But Chris and Piers, they have an interesting dynamic. I kind of like it in a way. And Helena and Leon, that's like the horror aspect of the game. That's the best scenario, in my opinion. And then Ada with the puzzles. It's just like, I don't know. That scenario's, it kind of sucks. And you get this guy, Agent, who you've never heard of before and will never hear of again. And he's just a random stand-in so people can, you know, play co-op as Ada and shit like that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this game now. I definitely feel a lot better about it than I used to. Because I only played a little bit of it. I didn't play through the whole entire thing. But now I'm pretty much almost done with it on the channel. So if you guys want to watch those videos, feel free. But at the same time, it's still not a great Resident Evil game. It's not. And is it a decent game? Yeah, I guess I'll say it's decent. But I feel like it's definitely below average. It's not underwhelming. I feel like it has a lot to it. I feel like that's the thing about Resident Evil 6. There's a lot in the game. Whether it works, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of content in the game. The replayability factor, I don't know if I ever want to play this game again now that I'm going to beat it soon. So yeah, there's that. So I'm going to put this game in below average. Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I mean, I like I said, I love the fact that Sherry's in the game. That's like my favorite part of Resident Evil 6 is just like seeing her all grown up. That's so cool, like, honestly. But yeah, that's where Resident Evil 6 belongs. So, let's move on. Another game that I have played recently on the channel that I soured over for a little bit, I realize the greatness of this game, Resident Evil 7. This game really is scary. It really is. You know, obviously I'm going to talk about Village in a little bit, but this game really is scary, and it really did bring survival horror back. And I just really, I think this game really fell off, you know, during the last third, like I've said before. And the molded, you know, they're awesome and all, but just having molded throughout the whole game is pretty fucking boring, honestly. So, that being said, I love all the boss fights in the game, like Jack Baker's and Marguerite, and, you know, Lucas Baker's traps, and then, you know, I don't like the last boss fight, and I don't like the way Chris Redfield looks in this game, but yo, check this out. The DLC in this fucking game is the best DLC I will ever play in probably ever any game, period. You got the bedroom, you got Sisters, you got fucking End of Zoe with Joe Baker where he just eats bugs and fucking kills things, and he's all out of bugs. Like, he's awesome. I fucking love Joe Baker. He is probably one of my favorite characters in the entire game besides Jack. So yeah, I mean, just because of the DLC alone, I feel like this game is absolutely, yeah, this game is a great game. It really is. I mean, yeah, like I said, the last third fell off, which is much to be expected. Sometimes with games, you know, sometimes they're just like, okay, let's put a little action in this since it's been so terrifying, just to relieve the terror and make it so you have a little bit more of an advantage now, you know. So yeah, it kind of breaks the tension with the last part, although it's not really a good thing to do. Resident Evil 7 is still great, so I still love it. All right, so let's move on to Code Veronica. So, Code Veronica, this needs a remake badly. This game is amazing. I love the atmosphere. I love the music. I love the Ashford twins. I love Wesker, you know, playing a part in the game, and I love being able to play as Claire and Chris in the same scenario. Like, that's cool. It's just divided in half pretty much. But it's one solid scenario. It's a very long game, honestly. But to be honest with you, like I said, there are points in this game where you can straight up, you know, have to start over from the beginning just because you didn't put an item on either Chris or Claire towards, you know, the ending of the game. And that's that's ridiculous. And, you know, some of the boss fights are very unclear of what to do, like the Nosferatu fight, for example. If you don't remember or know to pick up that sniper rifle, like, you're kind of fucked. Like, because that motherfucker takes a lot of handgun ammo to put down. He really does. But this game is amazing. I really like it. There's a lot wrong with it, including Steve Burnside, which is the most annoying character in the series. So it needs a remake. I want them to remake this game, hopefully soon. And I want them to treat this as like a mainline title, you know? Definitely a mainline title. I want them to do it big this time. You know, Resident Evil 3 Remake wasn't that good. Actually, it wasn't good at all. So yeah, I think Code Veronica is absolutely a beautiful, gorgeous game. It still holds up, but it needs a remake. So, but that's not going to change my opinion of the original. You know, hopefully I'll be saying this and it'll be relevant in the future, hopefully. The original game. I'm gonna put it in good tier. It's not great just because of those little hiccups in the game. And some of the enemies are kind of janky as fuck too. Like the new spiders that they introduced are just hot garbage. I hate those fucking things. And those hunters that poison you, the Hunter Zeta, yeah, fuck them. They're just assholes. But yeah, that's where Code Veronica belongs. All right. Sorry, I gotta take a drink. Definitely got to coat my throat because I've been doing a lot of talking. All right, so Dark Side Chronicles. Yeah, basically it's like the let's see. It's basically like the second and third game kind of reimagined in a way. Where you go through Raccoon City and stuff like that, and you know, Dark Side Chronicles is the better of the rail shooter games that you know, Capcom released for Resident Evil, and I really feel like they did Steve Burnside so much better in this one. He's a lot more calm, cool, and collected. He doesn't have an annoying voice, and I love the way Claire looks actually in this game too. This game is actually pretty gorgeous, honestly. I remember playing it on the Wii a while ago. I never finished it. I played a little bit of it, but from what I can remember, it was an awesome experience, and I would love to play it on the channel for you guys sometime soon and actually beat it. But from what I remember and what I saw, you know, on, you know, Let's Plays and stuff like that of other YouTubers that I watched, this game is actually really good. I really like it. I really enjoy it. I like the dark atmosphere that it portrays, you know, in Raccoon City. So yeah, I'm gonna put this game, let's see, good tier. Yeah, sure, Dark Side Chronicles, good tier, has to be. I mean, yeah, even though it is for the Wii, and it is a rail shooter, which not a lot of people like. It's kind of it's kind of a niche thing to do nowadays. Having a rail shooter, or playing a rail shooter in general. But I just remember being in the arcades playing House of the Dead 2 and fucking, loving it. And just playing this game reminded me exactly of House of the Dead 2. So there we go. That's why I love rail shooters, honestly. I was an arcade. I was like the last of the arcade kids before arcades weren't a thing anymore. So yeah, Dark Side Chronicles, it's good tier. Dead Aim. Well, with Dead Aim is that it's so okay. Resident Evil Dead Aim is kind of weird. It's yes, Dad. Yeah, I'll be up in a minute. Okay. Yes. So Resident Evil Dead Aim. This game was the first Resident Evil game that was released for the PlayStation 2. It's I don't know. It's just it's one of those games where it's just so forgettable. It really is. Bruce McGivern is a shitty character. And then Fong Ling is kind of, I don't like her voice acting either. And then Morpheus, he's a decent boss, but like very forgettable. The game is actually pretty short too. I never played through the whole thing just because I just didn't like it, But I would definitely love to play this game on the channel just to reaffirm my beliefs of this game and my opinions. But I will say that this game, very, very unmemorable, honestly. And also it goes from over the shoulder to to like first person rail shooter like esque. And it like I don't know why they chose to do that, but this game is underwhelming. Actually, I'll put it in crap tier. Fuck it. I mean, yeah, this game really isn't that great. Let's move on to Resident Evil Deadly Silence. Deadly Silence. Silence of the Lambs. Resident Evil Deadly Silence. This has to be in great tier because Resident Evil Director's Cut is in great tier, and this is the best version of the original Resident Evil. So I'm just gonna put this in here. Cause and there's a lot of really cool shit introduced too. Like you could play as all the people from Bravo Team, like Forrest Spire and Richard Eichen and blah 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 blah, Kenneth Sullivan. You could play as all those characters, which in the original game they weren't playable. So that's just really cool. I really love how they re-released it for the DS and added new content. Like that was really good for Capcom to do. I'm happy to own this game too. Like it's really good. Let's move on to Resident Evil Gaiden. Yeah, this game is crap, honestly. I mean, how great can a Resident Evil game be on the Game Boy Color? There you go. I mean, just imagine Resident Evil game, Game Boy Color combined. Boom, you got this. It's not that great, honestly. Let's see. Resident Evil 3D Mercenaries. Never played it, but they should really just add something like that to a regular Resident Evil game. Like, I don't understand why they had to, release something like this for the 3DS. That kind of sounds very boring and very fleeting very quickly. So yeah, these three are in crap tier. I'm not gonna lie. And then we get to Operation Raccoon City. I did play this game, and I don't like it. I think the ending was crappy. The way Nemesis sounds is shitty, and I feel like it was just a waste of a PlayStation 3 disc, to be honest with you. Like, there could have been so many other great games made for the PS3, but they decided to greenlight this. Yeah, this game is kind of an abomination. It's not very fun. It's so action-heavy that it's crazy. Like, Resident Evil 6 is bad, but this game is horribly bad with the action. So yeah, fuck this game. This game is underwhelming. I won't put it in crap tier because it can be fun to play with a friend. So yeah, I won't put it in F tier. But I will say that it is very underwhelming for sure. And if you guys want a great Resident Evil experience, do not play Operation Raccoon City because it's not a good game. So let's move on to the Outbreak games. All right. So yeah, this may be controversial. I have never. I actually have played this game, tried to play the first game, the first Outbreak game by myself, and it is like totally unplayable when you're playing by yourself. It's something where you need online multiplayer with friends in order to play, pretty much. And the online multiplayer is dead. I know that there are servers on the PC, but not everybody has a strong enough PC to handle that, which is, what, it's not very accessible to have a fun time with. But I will say a lot of the enemies are really cool. I've seen gameplay of both games. There's a she-licker, that's cool. Has, both. I'm putting both games together, by the way. But yeah, no, it's unplayable by itself, just playing by yourself. And, that to me just kind of sounds kind of shitty, to be honest with you. Like, I don't want to have to play with friends. If I want to play alone, I should be allowed to. I should, and not feel like I'm not having fun. So, Outbreak, whether they are good games or not, because I know that they are, just like the straight point of you not being able to play the game as well as you could without friends really blows. So I'm going to put these games in... I'll put these games in above average, because they're not terrible games. It's just a curse of the times, honestly. That's back when fucking we had DSL, and fucking we had to hook up shit to our phone lines, like, before Wi-Fi was even a fucking thought. So yeah, these games, I'll put the second one, I'll do that later. So, Resident Evil Resistance. I haven't played much of it, and honestly, I don't feel like I want to. I played it once. I was like, oh, you can be William Birkin. That's pretty cool. And then I actually played the game, and I'm just like, wow. Like, I don't know. I hate the whole Dead by Daylight craze and style of games. I really do. And at the end of the day, Resident Evil Resistance is just trying to be a copycat of those games, and I'm not a big fan of that. But at the same time, it is cool to play as bosses and stuff like that, like Nemesis and fucking William Birkin and Mr. X and shit. But Resident Evil Resistance, I haven't played it much for a reason. So it's going to get probably crap tier, to be honest with you. I'd rather play Operation Raccoon City any day than play Resistance, because it's not really replayable. It's kind of fleeting, and I don't really enjoy it that much. So yeah, I'm going to put it in crap tier. Like I said, if you guys argue any of my opinions, leave them down in the comments below. I will surely look at them. Just be respectful, or else I will delete your comment. So, Resident Evil Revelations 2. Yeah, from the time that Resident Evil 3 Remake came out till Village came out, I played through Resident Evil 2, Revelations 2 on stream, and let's just say this game sucks. This game really fucking sucks. Like, I love the fact that Barry's in the game and that Moira and Barry have that cool dynamic going on, but this game really fucking sucks. I'm sorry. This game is, like, the fact that you can play, with a friend and not with a friend is cool and all, but it's barely playable either way, because your friend can't even do anything. He's not having a good time, but you are, because you have a gun. The other person doesn't. And then at the same time, when you're playing by yourself, you don't know what the other character is looking at or doing, and they're supposed to have a role that doesn't involve killing enemies. So yeah, this game gets a solid, underwhelming tier for me, honestly. It really does. And I'm going to make some changes later now that I see, the list shaping up. But yeah, Revelations 2, I don't like the game, honestly. My friend Chris was right when we played it on the channel. It's not that great. So let's move on to Resident Evil Revelations 1. This game is awesome. This game takes place on a ship or on a boat. I feel like Andy Samberg. I'm on a boat, motherfucker, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But yeah, this Resident Evil game is actually really great. I love all the bosses in this game are fucking stunning. Besides that giant, fucking tentacle thing that comes out of the water. Yeah, not a big fan of that. But yeah. I do think that Revelations 1 is a great game. All the bosses are pretty cool. It is survival horror. I love all the basic enemies too as well. And the characters are pretty cool. The fact that you have a thing kind of like a nice double cross, kind of like Wesker did to Chris in the first game. In this game with Jessica, like that's really cool. I really like that because I didn't expect it. I thought that she was just this ditzy, fucking slutty girl, and she turns out to be like working for the bad guys. Like that, my mind was fucking blown because I didn't beat this game the first time that I did this tier list. I did not beat this game. But now, through the course of history having this channel, I have beaten the game. And I will say that it is really good. So I'm going to put it in good tier. Yeah. Actually, shit. I'll put it in great tier. Why not? It's a great game. I have a lot of fun playing it. Okay. So the next game is RE-verse. Obviously, it didn't come out yet, so I can't assume whether it's going to be crap, underwhelming, or both. So I'll just put it in meh tier, and we'll see what happens in the next tier list, or in the next Redux to the Resident Evil tier list. Because, I don't know, RE-verse could be kind of cool, but then again, I thought the same thing about Resistance, and I don't like Resistance, So, I mean, like I said, these are my opinions, Some of you guys like Dead by Daylight and stuff like that, which is like probably a big majority of you guys since Dead by Daylight is so fucking popular. But I'm just not a big fan of that style of game, the fact that you have to find stuff in order to escape instead of just, running through the game and getting to the end and killing a final boss and, taking a rocket launcher to fucking Nemesis's dick. Like, that just, I don't know. It lacks that story element. There we go. It lacks story. I like playing video games for the story, not just because I'm playing a game just to kill time. I like to be told a good tale of something abnormal going on in a city, and fucking there's zombies all over the place. There you go. Like, that's the whole reason why I play video games. That's why I've always played video games, to get trapped in a different story, a different reality. So yeah, so Revelations is right here. RE-verse, to be determined. Survivors 2, yeah, I know for a fact that this game is shit. I saw somebody play it in a live stream, and I don't think I'd ever want to play this game. There is no voice acting, basically. It's just kind of the same thing as regular Survivor, only crappier for some reason. I don't know how. But yeah, this game is not that great. So let's move on to Survivor. I mean, some people actually really like this game. I know Angry Video Game Nerd didn't. But it's to be determined how I honestly really do feel about this game. Right now, I will probably say that it's probably underwhelming. But this is one of the games that I'm going to be exploring on the channel soon. So yeah, I'll put that at underwhelming for now. Just because maybe I feel like maybe I won't like it. But yeah. So next game, Umbrella Chronicles. Yeah, this game is like Darkside Chronicles, but not as good. It kind of recycles a lot of this stuff from, the GameCube days of Resident Evil with like, I think it uses the same engine, honestly. Well, maybe Darkside Chronicles does too, but I don't know. I just like Darkside Chronicles more because it's a lot more grittier than Umbrella Chronicles. Yeah, it just kind of reuses the same shit, hashes out the same story, and doesn't, do anything new with the characters or whatever. I like something different, and, it's just, actually, I'll kind of put it in meh. Yeah, I'll put it in meh. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, like, the reused shit, although it being a rail shooter, obviously, gives it points, so maybe I'll put it in below average. Yeah, below average sounds fine. Let's move on to Umbrella Corps. Yeah, this is no spoilers to you guys, because this game obviously is well known for sucking asshole. This game, what were they thinking with this game? I don't even know, man. Like, Umbrella Corps? Who cares? Like, I don't know. Yeah, the zombies aren't even, like, relevant. There's barely or to no story at all. It's just, like, a fucking death match like Halo, but it's not good. Not even close to good. So yeah, Umbrella Corps, fuck that game, and how dare they give that to us, on the 20th anniversary of Resident Evil? They should be ashamed, honestly, just pumping out this piece of shit and just saying, oh yeah, this is a Resident Evil game, have fun, happy 20th anniversary, assholes. Yeah, that's not cool. And we get to the final game, which is why I did this tier list in the first place, Resident Evil Village. Um, this game, start to finish, is absolutely breathtaking, amazing. It's one hell of a ride. I love every single fucking boss battle in this fucking game. This game is so long and so fun, and it is so easy to get lost in this game, but in a good way, in a great way. Honestly, this is probably one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made. And for those of you, Moist Critical, that said that Resident Evil 7 is scarier and that Resident Evil Village isn't good, I think Resident Evil 8 Village is actually on par with Resident Evil 7. Honestly, it really is when it comes to scare factor, because there's a lot of random shit that, and it doesn't have to rely on jump scares. It relies on atmosphere. And that's what people that's what I feel like a lot of people that made tier lists don't understand, is that Resident Evil Village doesn't need that many jump scares. What it needs is a solid atmosphere to make you feel the fear and not just have it jump in your face. Nobody wants that every 3 seconds. I know playing Resident Evil 7, those jump scares get pretty boring after a while, but playing Resident Evil Village over and over again like I have been, I will say that none of it gets stale at all. And honestly, Resident Evil Village is a lot more fast-paced than Resident Evil 7. It is so much more fast-paced. It doesn't feel like you're running through mud. It feels like you're gliding along fine and gracefully. And the enemies in this game, I love the fact that every single one of the enemies in this game are an immediate threat, whether they're just a Lycan or whether they're fucking Lady D or, Mother Miranda or whoever. Every single enemy in this game is a threat, and I love that. I really do. The Lycans are nimble as fuck, and, they'll dodge your shots sometimes and whatever. I love all the bosses, Moreau, Donna Beneviento, Lady D, Carl Heisenberg, and fucking Mother Miranda. The list goes on. Even, some of the sub-bosses are so cool, too, like the Cannibal, or as I like to call him, the Butcher, since there's a lot of meat afterwards once you kill him. Resident Evil Village is awesome. It's just an amazing ride, and, I'm not going to spoil it for those of you who haven't played it yet, just because, I want you guys to experience it, but I guess I'll talk more about it once, I guess, RE-verse comes out, or the next Resident Evil installment comes out, just how much I really, really, really fucking love this game. Just every section in this game is just full of tension and fear, and just you never know what's going to happen until it happens. And then it happens, and you're just like, well, fuck, that was crazy. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. Oh, shit, something even more crazy. It's a thrill ride, but a horrifying thrill ride. And it's like an open world-ish almost type of amazing game, and there's so much to do in this game. You could shoot animals and gather food. So the Duke, who is the merchant in the game, can make you a dish, so that way you can up your health or change your speed or whatever. Run faster or have more ammo, whatever. It's just really, really fucking awesome. And there's hidden treasures, hidden stuff all over the place. Resident Evil Village is a knockout of a game. They knocked it out of the park with Village. So yeah, obviously it's going in God tier for sure. I don't know. I wouldn't feel good putting it anywhere else, because Village is an amazing fucking game. So let's get down to brass tacks here. I've talked about Village, and exactly where I think it should be is God tier. But I'm going to go from crap tier all the way up to God tier and reset them to just reset them as I see fit, from worst to best. So, all right, Umbrella Corps is sitting at the worst, obviously. Gun Survivor 2, I guess not far in front of it, but still there. Probably Mercenaries 3Ds right here, and then Gaiden. At least it's, you know, a game. It's kind of playable and has everything in it that a game needs. Resistance. I'll put Dead Aim above Resistance just because Dead Aim actually has a few cool things about it, and Resistance is kind of just like rinse and repeat, same shit all over again type game. Let's see. Underwhelming tier. I will put Survivor down here just because, like I said, it's to be decided. I mean, I know I've talked a lot about Survivor and whatever, but I think I've kind of exhausted that. I actually want to play the game just to see if I actually really do like it. And then, let's see. I'm going to put, Operation Raccoon City behind Survivor. And then Revelations 2 belongs here. I think I'm going to give Resident Evil 3 Remake a little bit of leeway. I'm going to put it in meh tier, just because it was very underwhelming, but it was very meh. There was a lot of things that I did like about it, but many more things that I hated about this game. The fact that you can down Nemesis with one grenade was bullshit. I mean, they brought back the classic theme, but I mean, it's equal parts good, equal parts bad. Which is why I think maybe it belongs either here or below average. Yeah, I'll put it in below average, fuck it. So, yeah. But like I said, I don't like playing this game. To me, it's not replayable. I don't even, yeah. I mean, all these games, I don't think I'd ever want to replay if I played them again. You know? Honestly. Alright, so yeah, Revelations 2 sits in underwhelming. Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. Let's see. REverse, like I said, to be continued. I don't know. To be decided. Let's see. 0, obviously, it's the only thing in meh tier, so I'll just keep it there. And then Umbrella Chronicles would have to go behind Resident Evil 3 Remake, because you saw all that shit before. It's just in rail shooter format. Whoop-de-doo, you know? And then Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil 3 Remake are on the same tier. Which one is better, though? I would have to say 6, because there's more of it. There's more of the shittiness, as opposed to just a little bit of the shittiness, and then you have to play through the same shittiness all over again in order to unlock stuff. Not a big fan of that. That fucking sucks. Let's see. Outbreak games. Yeah, I'll put Outbreak File 1 behind File 2, because I know notoriously File 2 is better. And I obviously liked watching it better than the original. Resident Evil 5 above average tier. Okay. Let's see. Dark Side Chronicles is below Code Veronica. Okay, yeah, I can accept that. And then great tier. All right, so great tier. Let's see. I'll put Resident Evil Director's Cut all the way down. And then I will put, let's see, Revelations right in front of the original Resident Evil. I mean, obviously it's still in great tier. It's like close to God. So, yeah, so these are still really great games in my opinion. These are good, but and then these are just average and whatever. Like, yeah. Yeah, I'll put Revelations above the original. Sure. I mean, Revelations is a lot of fun. It really is. Like, there are some pretty cool moments in the game, and like I said, all the bosses are just so cool looking. They are so cool looking. If you guys have the chance to pick this game up, definitely do it if you haven't played it before, because it's actually really fun. Let's see. Deadly Silence, I'm going to leave there. Now, Resident Evil 4 is better than Resident Evil 7. Definitely is. Actually, I'll say that Deadly Silence is better than Resident Evil 7. Just because Deadly Silence is like the original game, but there's a bunch of stuff added to it, and that's kind of like what Remake was trying to do, only it has, you know, Nintendo DS graphics, so it's not exactly up to snuff, but it's still amazing. Like, it's still fun to play. I play it all the time on my DS when I'm like out on the road and somebody else is driving, and you know, I'll just play Deadly Silence. I really love the game. It's a lot of fun. All right, so now we're going to get into the top 5 games that I think are my favorite Resident Evil games right now. So, Resident Evil 1 Remake. Okay, actually, let's talk about, Resident Evil 1 Remake. Obviously, it belongs close to the top spot, if not the top spot. Resident Evil 2, the original, is behind Resident Evil 1 Remake. Resident Evil 2 Remake is behind Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I still feel like it's the second best Resident Evil game of all time. But Village. Village is out now. And I must say that Village is just so good. It's so breathtaking. It just like, it literally puts you into a different, even universe. Like, and you just get to explore and run around and not have to worry about speed running and take your time, and every enemy can fucking kill you, so it's all about strategy and movement. And dude, this game is fucking bonkers and I love it. Like, and obviously since I used Chris's beautiful face, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Chris Redfield is back in this game and he looks stunning. His voice acting is incredible. And even Ethan does sound better in this game, voice acting wise. He's a lot better. I still don't really like him that much as a character. And I really think that they should have revealed his face at the end of the game. That's what kind of killed it for me. I was just like, really? We don't even get to see what Ethan looks like? Then why should I care, you know? I don't know. There's just something about looking at somebody's face that can tell you everything you need to know, even in real life. Like, if I were to talk to somebody online that I never met and then I finally see them in person, you know, or just like see their face in general in like a video chat or whatever, then I'm just like, oh, okay, I totally get it now. Like, you know, you could see their facial expressions and whatever. Yeah, the fact that they didn't show Ethan's face after the game kind of bummed me out, but I will say that Village is it better than Resident Evil 2 Remake? I think it is. I really do. It has a lot of replayability, just like Resident Evil 2 Remake does. You could speedrun this game, knife only run this game. It's just, this game has it all and then some. It actually like reinvents Resident Evil, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's better than Resident Evil 2 Remake. Is it better than the OG Resident Evil 2? I mean, Village has a lot more to it. And I feel like Resident Evil 2, the original, is pretty easy. Once you learn how to, you know, kind of go through the first set of zombies before you hit the Raccoon City police station, you know, then it just becomes very, very easy at that point. So Village is going above Resident Evil 2. Now, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Because of that dodge mechanic, man. Resident Evil Village has a good dodge mechanic. A great dodge mechanic, actually. And it's not all action, you know, shit. So, you know, yeah. I mean, I see it as this way. Like, Resident Evil 4 is amazing, but Resident Evil Village does what Resident Evil 4 does, but even fucking better. It really, like, that's the way I see it. Like I said, that's my opinion. Resident Evil Village definitely deserves to be in the top 3. We'll see how I feel about it once, you know, the next Resident Evil game comes out. It's probably going to be RE-verse, but I really should have saved this tier list for after RE-verse comes out, but I feel like that's probably where I'm going to put it anyways. You know, yeah, man tier. Yeah, honestly. But yeah, Village, I don't know if it's better than Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, man. I really don't know at all. Because Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, yeah, like I said, the dodge mechanic sucks, but there's just so many cool things about this game that are so worth it to play just on its own. The fact that you know, sometimes a different enemy will spawn in an area than another. You know, that is just so fucking unique, and I'm still learning things about this game years later. So yeah, I don't think that Village is better than Resident Evil 3 Remake, but I think that Village is top 3 for sure. So yeah, it goes, all these are shit, and you know, my top 5, or actually no, my top 10 are Resident Evil 1 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Deadly Silence, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Revelations, and the original Resident Evil. So yeah, that's my list. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to switch Code Veronica and the original Resident Evil on this one. Yeah. And yeah. Even though it is iconic and it's the very first, you know, it just doesn't hold up well. I mean, the music is great, like I said, but it just doesn't, like, enemy-wise, it does not hold up very well at all. And Code Veronica actually had a lot going for it, minus, you know, the few flaws that it has. So yeah, that's my list. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Like I said, if you disagree with me, leave it in the comments below, and I will definitely check them out. Just as long as you're, you know, being respectful and being appropriate, I will definitely, you know, comment back. And yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Really, really, really appreciate it. If this video brought you to my channel, and if you like this video, definitely please consider supporting the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with your friends. Obviously, that definitely helps. If you want to support me as the creator of this channel, definitely go into my description below. I have all my social media there. On top of that, I have my merch shop, which you guys can buy some sick-ass t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, fucking pillows, you name it. I got it on my channel. So, or I got it in my merch shop. So stop on by and see what you like. And also, my Patreon is in my description below as well. Check that shit out if you guys want to. And if you guys don't do any of that stuff, you don't have to. That is, I'm not forcing you to do anything. Then definitely just hit that notify bell. Make sure you guys get all that content when I'm going live, when I'm releasing another tier list. And yeah, so like I said, I've been Luke from Wrestling with Evil. I love you all, and I hope that you guys love Resident Evil just as much as I do, if not more. And do you guys have any memories with these games, like with your family or brothers or sisters or whatever? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your guys' story about this franchise that I love so much. So without further ado, I love you guys. Thank you guys. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Mwah. Peace.